Hi everybody, this is Rich Formidoni from Korg, and recently we've been getting a lot of buzz about our upcoming Kaossilator Pro. So what I wanted to do today was show you the main differences between the Kaossilator Pro and the KP3 Kaoss Pad. Obviously they look very much alike, but they're really totally different musical tools. The Kaossilator Pro, for example, is much more of a synthesizer and a loop recorder, whereas the KP3 Kaoss Pad is primarily a sampler and an effects processor. So we'll go through and show you the similarities and differences. There's a little bit of overlap in the functionality, but really they are completely different. Here we go. So when you touch the XY pad of the Kaossilator Pro, generally you're creating sounds. Now conversely, when you touch the pad of the Kaoss Pad 3, you're actually modifying sounds. So you wouldn't hear anything by itself. But what I've done is I've plugged the output of the Kaossilator Pro into the input of the KP3. So now the Kaoss Pad 3 will modify the Kaossilator Pro's sound. Now both of these guys have 8 buttons just above the XY pad, and on both of them they're used for storing your 8 favorite programs. So you can use the right button and then touch one of the buttons here to save your favorite program in one of those 8 locations. Now, the other buttons have different functions for each of the different pieces. So, for example, on the Kaossilator Pro, this particular button is Scale, and it allows you to modify the type of scale that you're using. Now, on the Kaoss Pad 3, that button is Auto BPM. So that'll let you take audio from the inputs and actually automatically detect the beats per minute, the tempo of that particular sound, and apply it to the master tempo of the KP3. The next button down is Key. So on the Kaossilator Pro, it changes the key that you're working with. And on the KP3, that's Pad Motion. That allows you to record finger movements and play them back. And using the Shift button, you can even reverse them. Now, the next button down is Erase Loop and Delete Loop, and that comes into play when you're actually recording using the loop bank buttons below. On the Kaoss Pad 3, that's Mute. So you can mute individual sections, individual samples that you're playing with, and below that, the Record and Sampling buttons actually perform somewhat similar functions. The sliders do very different things on each one of these. On the Kaossilator Pro, it adjusts the speed or gate arp time of the arpeggiator that's built in. And the button right below it turns the arpeggiator on and off. And you can see it blinking in time with the arpeggiator speed. So on the Kaoss Pad 3, that controls effects release. So there's a tail at the end of the effect, like a little delay tail, for example, if it's a delay, and you can adjust how intense that effect is. Also, you can use this to adjust the levels of individual samples that you've recorded. Just below that is the Hold button. So if you move your finger around the pad and press the Hold button, it'll keep it where you originally put it. Now, that function is actually present on the Kaossilator Pro. It's been relegated to the Shift button. So one of the biggest differences between the Kaossilator Pro and the KP3 is how they record. Both of them are capable of recording sounds internally and from external sources, and they both do so very differently. The Kaossilator Pro is much more focused on recording sounds that are internal and creating loops from them. So, for example, I can take a drum sound here. We'll grab a quick drum groove, and from there, I'm going to record it onto one of these loop recorder banks. Now, if I want to layer something else on top of it, all I have to do is, while the loop is playing, hold that button down, select another sound, and record. So I don't have to engage resampling or do anything crazy. I just have to hold a button down and it's good to go. So it's very good for live recording. So you can build loops very, very quickly. Now, let's take that loop here and record it into the KP3. The first thing I'm going to do is turn on the auto BPM function. So that allows the KP3 to automatically detect incoming tempo from an audio signal. So I'll let the loop play for a few seconds. Alright, it has detected the tempo, and now what I'm going to do is record it onto one of these sample banks. So all I have to do is press sampling and start the loop going, and when I'm ready, press one of those buttons. So now what I just did was turned off the loop on the Kaossilator Pro and turned it on the KP3. Now, here's some stuff that the Kaoss Pad 3 can do that the Kaossilator Pro can't. Once the sound is in here, you can actually chop it up by using these buttons right up top. So I'll hold down Shift and press the sample bank that I want to play with. So you can do some live remixing there. And what you can also do is modify it using any of the effects. So all you have to do is, while it's playing, scroll through, find your favorite sounds, and tweak it using the built-in effects. Now, once you get an effect that you really like, if you want to, you can resample it onto another pad. So we'll start playing, and then we'll modify it as we use the resampling function. So as far as sampling and resampling goes, the KP3 is a really, really powerful beast, and that's its main functionality as an effects processor and a sampler. Now, moving back to the Kaossilator Pro, we have seen how easy it is to record loops and quickly overdub and record some external audio into whatever we're playing. The other wonderful things that you can do with the Kaossilator Pro are really modify your performance using things like note range, scale, and key. If I want to